The age of YouTuber boxing matches has begun. Some of us are annoyed about it, others are absolutely loving it. One thing is for certain, people can't stop talking about it, or watching videos about it, much to my dismay. But hey, if the people want to see it, you gotta give the people what they want. The boxing match that took place on August 25th was the biggest event in internet history. An estimated 2 million people witnessed it as it happened, and even though the exact amount of money each YouTuber made from the fights is undisclosed, we know that it was likely millions. And not just for the fight itself. The diss tracks and subscriber counts for all the YouTubers involved racked up millions of hits. It's clear that internet beef makes a lot of money, and it's only natural now for this trend to continue. Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions, the channel that turns any question into one of life's greatest. The question we are asking today is, who will Jake Paul fight next? I'm your host, Charlotte Dobre, and this is where I remind you to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and notification bell. If you would like to connect with the creative team behind this video and Life's Biggest Questions, check out the description of this video for all the links to our social media. Jake Paul has proved himself in the ring against KSI's younger brother Deji, even though Deji did manage to reveal to us that Jake's a bleeder. But this fight was not the main event. That's because Jake Paul is Logan Paul's younger brother. But now things have changed. Because Jake won against Deji, this could mean that he could become a co-feature. In other words, the headliner. Even though most people think that there could be a rematch between Jake and Deji, that's not actually the case. Only Logan and KSI have a rematch scheduled for 2019 that will take place in the United States, so we know that Jake Paul won't be fighting Deji. So, who will Jake Paul fight next? I think the better question here is, who would we like to see punch Jake Paul in the face next? Yeah, I said it. Come at me, bro. Maybe I should fight Jake Paul. Not gonna lie, I would probably lose, and I am not ashamed to admit that, unlike Deji. So let's think about this for a second. Who are some big YouTubers that we know Jake Paul has had beef with? Jake Paul and KSI seem like a pretty reasonable match. After all, KSI called out Jake Paul and Logan Paul at the end of his boxing match with Joe Weller. The beef between KSI and Jake Paul seemed to be pretty much non-existent before the whole YouTuber boxing match thing started. Jake Paul constantly made the joke that he had no idea who KSI was, that he was irrelevant, and he even spelled his name wrong in a tweet that said, "Who is PSI and why are people tweeting me about him?" Jake Paul has called KSI by a bunch of different names actually, from CSI to KFC to KGB. Calling KSI the wrong name seems to be Jake Paul's favorite joke. KSI also seems like he would be up for the fight, saying in a video, "Jake, everyone knows in a boxing match I would beat the shit out of you." A boxing match between KSI and Jake Paul would be a smart business move for both of them. It would make both of them millions. And it's not like either of them would have to start internet beef with anyone new. The beef is already out there in the open, and it has been for months. Chances are, if there is money to be made, I think it's a pretty good chance that Jake and KSI will get into the ring together in the future. At the end of the fight between Jake Paul and Deji, Jake Paul called out Chris Brown. Well, we examined what a possible fight between Jake Paul and Chris Brown would look like in one of our recent videos on Life's Biggest Questions, so I won't get into it too much here, but it would basically be a brawl between wife beaters. Shots fired! If you want to watch our video on what if Jake Paul fought Chris Brown, check out the link clickable on the screen right now. Next up, there's a lot of people who want to see Jake Paul fight his brother Logan, but Logan said the only way that he and Jake Paul would ever fight is if the two of them had real life beef. I love his choice of words, real life beef as opposed to fake internet beef. Huh, Logan? So who else could Jake Paul fight next? Who else do we know he has previous beef with? Rice Gum? Rice Gum and Jake have been shit-talking at each other for years, but would Rice Gum step in the ring with Jake Paul, who is far beefier than he is? Probably not. What about iDubbbz? We know that iDubbbz and Jake Paul have previous beef, but I don't know if I can see iDubbbz taking the plunge. He kinda likes to just sit at his computer and make those content cop things, which are very great. I enjoy them. Don't make one about me, please. Another YouTuber that's been very vocal about his distaste for Jake Paul is Kavos. Kavos has made numerous videos about Jake Paul, calling Everyday Bro the worst song on YouTube, and essentially trying to get everyone to hate him, or at the very least start beef with him. But Kavos only has 1 million subscribers at the time of this recording. He's not exactly relevant enough for Jake Paul to want to collaborate with him. Jake Paul has 16 million subscribers at the time of this recording. At this point, Jake could pretty much fight whoever he wanted, but he needs to be strategic in who he picks. These YouTuber fights are more like collaborations than actual boxing matches. He needs to pick a YouTuber that's relevant enough so that it's worth his while. Someone who he can make diss tracks about, and also who would make diss tracks about him. He also shouldn't pick someone that would obviously beat him. People like Bradley Martin, Furious Pete, and definitely not Conor McGregor. Jake Paul told TMZ that he's interested in fighting the notorious MMA. But really? You think Conor McGregor would fight Jake Paul? Not a chance. I would say that the next person Jake should fight is KSI. Even though KSI is set to fight Jake's brother Logan again in 2019, the beef between KSI and Jake is definitely causing enough of a stir for people to cry out for blood. And KSI did call out Jake before he called out Logan after his boxing match with Joe Weller. So that's my best guess. Who do you think Jake Paul should fight next? Let us know in those comments. videos. For now, I'm Charlotte Dobre and you've been watching Life's Biggest Questions. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love the video that's clickable on the screen right now. Make sure you turn on those notifications by clicking the bell, and we will see you in a future episode of Life's Biggest Questions.